You are in the right place if you're wanting to know how to solve problems and overcome challenges by connecting with that part of you that already knows what the answer is, but you can't quite get your head around it. If you've ever wondered how to connect with your higher self so that you can dissolve the obstacles in your path, then stay tuned.
What do you do when your dreams feel unreachable, your reality feels close to unbearable, and no matter how hard you work to shake things up, no matter how much time and effort you put into changing your life, you still feel deeply, painfully, and hopelessly stuck? What you need is alchemy. What is alchemy? Well, it's a process that changes or transforms something in a magical way. You can discover how to create this very practical form of magic in your own life, shifting your energy in a way that dissolves the obstacles in your path to literally bring success to you. My name is Rami, like Do Re Mi, and I'm a best-selling author. Knowing how to unlock this hidden power, how to take back your resilience so you can just move forward, is the battle cry of anyone who's been through one of life's crushing setbacks. Luckily, unlocking your hidden power is easier than it might seem. I have something that I think you'll enjoy, and you can get started with this very practical form of magic right here, right now. Simply click below.
Okay, let me jump off the screen here and change over to my laptop. Today, we're talking about how to connect with your higher self. I often call this our spiritual self or our soul self. Maybe we want to reach a higher creative plane. Maybe we want the next level of success, or maybe we just find ourselves asking, what would my soul want for me as we're trying to solve one of life's problems or challenges? If you aren't getting the success you want in full abundance, however you identify with success, and if you're wanting to tap into a greater knowingness so that you can attract the success you're craving, then this video is for you. Maybe it's time to open up to your hidden power and create something unimaginable, something totally unreasonable, something that maybe even seems impossible to kick your whole life and all your success into high gear for whatever success means for you. Today, I'm going to try and get you one step closer. So let's dig right in and talk about dissolving obstacles because I know a little bit about that whole being stuck thing. In fact, I've been called America's #1 unstuckologist. I've spent years helping all kinds of people to get unstuck by overcoming invalidation and spiritual injury so you can find your exclamation points and your natural optimism again, to the art of resilience and how to get your life back. And today, we're talking about how to unlock your hidden power so you can solve life's problems and overcome obstacles using the magic of alchemy. As business owners, change makers, thought leaders, innovators, disruptors, or even if we haven't found the right fit in the world yet, whether we're talking about our relationships at home or at work, or when we're talking about our finances, sometimes we find these obstacles and we find that we're moving away from success. So, how do we overcome this? How can we find the clarity and courage we need so that we can unlock our hidden power and solve these challenges? Well, today's video is for you. If you wonder, do the insights and answers come from the universe or from my higher self? If I could get insights from my own soul, from this higher self, how would I do that? Could my higher self help me solve these problems or challenges, believe in myself again, and be successful? Now, before we get rolling here, I just want to remind you that this video will be less than 30 minutes. I'm a bullet point kind of a person, and I myself don't have hours and hours to hang on to webinars that just go on and on. So we'll keep this brief, but full of great stuff. And the number two thing I want to mention is that if you'll stay with me and take lots of notes, there are two things coming up that you'll want to grab. One will be an awesome survival guide that's an instant download. You'll be able to grab that after this video is over. And the other is a little handout that people just beg for in my workshops, and I'm giving you a free copy of that. Now let's get started with probably the most basic universal law to ever exist. When we're faced with a challenge, a problem, a conundrum, a paradox, or any kind of indecision, there's only one thing we need to know. When we're feeling stuck, It's never the situation that has us stuck. And can we use a capital N? It isn't the situation, it's your energy about the situation that's become stuck in doubts, worries, confusion, frustration, maybe even anger. And often this is because of a spiritual injury that we've experienced, some kind of a hidden trauma. So it isn't the pain of your situation, it's the pain of not being connected to the natural energy of who you really are, of being connected to that magical part of you that's a creative vibrational being who can use positive energies to create what you want and bring it into physical manifestation. What's crucial here is to not get stuck in the negative vibrations that are totally blocking the solution. Our choice of frequency, our choice of vibration, can change the course of our journey. Our very natural positive energies like resilience, compassion, curiosity, optimism, grace, appreciation, and even just being open to possibilities that you've maybe never thought about are where we find the magic of alchemy, the magic of transformation. And using your hidden power means using these positive energies to create the transformation you want. Our choice of frequency can change the course of our journey. So we know that negative energies block whatever answers or resolution we're looking for with our challenges. And so, of course, we know that directing positive energies toward the best possible outcomes is a hidden power that unlocks the magic of alchemy. But what is it about this higher self thing? Who's pulling the strings, the universe or our own soul? There are moments in life that feel so profound and transformative that they lead us to question whether there's some sort of a higher purpose that's working behind the scenes or maybe some kind of destiny. We get these moments of insight that are sometimes excruciating and beautiful all at the same time. And so we wonder, who's conducting the orchestra? Is it the universe or is it our own soul? Well, we know the universe isn't personal. When we think about a problem like there's no money, there's no money, there's no money, which is a common problem that my people in my workshops ask about, the universe is simply responding to our thoughts, but the universe isn't personal. The universe is simply doing its job. And when we understand how energy behaves in the universe, we can make some adjustments. The universe's job is to respond to our thoughts, and our job is to think positive thoughts about the opportunities and what we want to create in our life. Simple, right? By thinking about these positive possibilities, these possible outcomes, we change the energy and the way it's behaving in the universe. Our choice of thoughts, our frequency, positive or negative, can change the course of our journey. I think it's pretty amazing to know that our higher self, and I often call this our soul self, doesn't want all the chitter chatter of negative thoughts. Our higher self only wants one thing, a more positive frequency. And so when we're talking about connecting with our higher self, the easiest way to connect is through positive frequencies. Because the thing is, when we're angry, frustrated, confused, we leak our power, and that keeps us stuck. We can't connect. And so I want to present you with an exercise that's going to help you plug that leak and connect directly with your higher self. And this exercise about how to connect with your higher self is something that I've done before. I've called it different things in different videos, books, workshops, if you've been following me for a while. But today, we're going to take a deep dive and go one layer deeper into a new place where I've never taken you before, and I think you're going to love it. So here we go. You'll need a piece of paper, or you can just use the slate of your imagination. But on a piece of paper, I'd like you to draw 2 stick figures, and then we'll begin to add to this. Draw 1 stick figure on the left side of the page and 1 on the right. And if you'd like to, you can leave just a little bit of space there in the middle because we're going to put something in the middle space here in just a few minutes. Next, I'd like you to draw a big circle around the stick figure on the right. That circle represents everything that you are and everything that you can be. It represents the greatness that's within you and also the potential for greatness. It's much bigger than you are. And you'd label this your higher self, or you might call it your inner wisdom. If you're a business owner, this might be called your inner CEO. For me, I like to call it my soul self, or even my spiritually centered self. This is our creative self because we are creative vibrational beings who can effect transformation through the use of positive energies. This is where we can connect with the higher thought frequencies, a more spiritual perspective. So you'll see here that the circle is bigger than you are, and it represents all that you are. It represents all opportunities and all possibilities. Now, for the stick figure over there on the left, let's label that your ego. It's your inner stuckness. That stick figure is outside the circle over on the left side of the page, and it's detached from you. Now, even though it's smiling there, on the inside, it is completely out of sorts because on the inside, it really doesn't have a clue how to solve this challenge that you're in. It may have suffered a spiritual injury or a trauma somewhere along the way. And even though it smiles on the outside, it will often say on the inside, I'm not sure. I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed. I'm on autopilot of just going through the motions. It's as though nothing matters, nothing works, and nothing I try is going to work. And so I just feel stuck. But I don't want anyone to know, so I'm going to keep smiling. Now, next, see down here at the bottom, there's a dashed line. So I'd like you to draw a dashed line between the part of you that's stuck and the part of you that has all this genius and wisdom. Now, in our workshops, we affectionately call this our snotty inner child on the left side and our grown-up self on the right side. But no matter what we call it, you may immediately see this is a very simple and clear division between fear and love, a division between our wounded self and our divine self. All right, I'm sure you can see that. Now, in addition to this concept, let's look back at this dashed line and just make a note that it represents a tension line. It's flexible. It can stretch like a rubber band. And can you see how that part of you that doesn't have a clue how to solve challenges could be a constant distraction with the thinking, and all the emotions where we can become so unhinged sometimes, and how all that can stretch you away from the you that's centered and already knows all the answers deep inside. It's kind of like that relentless 6-year-old that keeps whining, can we get some ice cream? Can we get some ice cream? Can we get some ice cream, please? It's like a broken record where the needle is stuck going round and round. That's your inner stuckness going round and round, and our thoughts just behave the same way. They just go round and round. And that's a total distraction, right? Because we can't find the solution when we're just going round and round. So you have the dashed line between these two parts of yourself. Now let's label that dashed line responsibility, because it would be irresponsible to stretch away from your higher self. That's where your purpose lives, who you are and who you're meant to be. Live in this spiritually centered place. This is where you always want to be aligned over there on the right side of the page, because aligning with ego on the left side of the page is going to keep you, well, stuck. Now, in my workshops, this is just about the time where we break it down and look more closely at the qualities of your soul self and the qualities of your ego self. So let's do that right now. Right over here on the right side of the page, we could write down descriptive words for our soul self like expansion, well-being, happiness, inner knowingness, connection. And if this is your inner CEO, you might write down words like persistence, inspiration, executive wisdom, clarity. These would be some of the qualities that might go on the right side of the page. And of course, you may think of others. Now, let's move back over to the left side of the page. Over on the left side, where your ego lives, and this is the part of you that wants to protect you after a spiritual injury or a trauma. So you could write down words like doubts, worries, confusion, frustration, indecision, that's a big one, and even anger, that's another big one. These would be a few qualities that might go on the left side of the page, and just like the right side, you can feel free to pencil in your own as you think about what those might be. Now, that last one there, anger. Can we talk about anger for just a second? Because this is huge. We talk about anger a lot in our workshops because it's a common experience, and it's a hot topic that affects so many of us. It's actually appropriate to be angry in certain situations. It's normal to travel up and down the emotional tone scale depending on what situation we're facing. But when we experience an abundance of negative energy, whatever that negative emotion is, but especially anger, it blocks our prosperity and success. So anytime someone comes up to me at a workshop and says, I have this financial challenge, or I'm feeling stuck, the first thing we look at is anger. And I always ask, who are you so angry with? You might want to write that down. Who are you so angry with? Some people are angry with a person, and some people are angry about a situation, and some people are angry at themselves for doing something incredibly counterintuitive somewhere along the way. And so here's a great little exercise for you. We'll often start with a journaling exercise where I might ask you to write down, I'm so angry that, or I hate it when, I'm fed up with this, that, or the other. I resent that this or that happened. My protest is, and you just fill in the blanks literally until you have nothing left to write down. Even if it takes you 100 pages, just get it all out. Just that exercise itself can often break things wide open and help you recenter back over there on that right side of the page. You know, so many of us are naturally optimistic. We have a natural enthusiasm that lives inside of us. And so we sometimes we just don't do anger loudly. We aren't aggressive. We aren't bullies. But we do sometimes harbor anger just below the surface. And sometimes it even turns inward and becomes depression. And sometimes it just lives there right below the surface, and we find ourselves just looking at what's wrong, or we start complaining, or we start criticizing. And all that is still a form of anger. Anger blocks our prosperity. And so if you've ever wondered, am I depressed? Am I blocked? Are my limiting beliefs in my way? Then you might just take a minute to look at who you're angry with or what you're angry about. Maybe it's you. Maybe you've broken your own integrity and you're involved in something that you really don't want to be involved in. So let's go back to this dashed line that's between your two selves and just take a look at how those negative emotions, and there can be a lot of them, including anger, could pull you away or distance you from your spiritually centered self. Anger also distances you from what you want, even from your purpose in life. It distances you from that connection with your higher self, from your knowingness, from your inner guidance, that graceful intuition that can serve you so well. So hopefully this diagram will just emphasize the point that these negative emotions, well, it even distances you from success. Anger serves only one purpose. It creates distance. Distance between you and the people you love, distance between you and the things you value. It pulls you away from who you are at your core, making it nearly impossible to create those things you want to create in life. And anger isn't the only negative energy. We also have probably hundreds of negative emotions if we really want to look at it, and any of them can keep you stuck on the left side of the page. You see, it's never the situation that has you stuck. It's your energy that's stuck over there on the left side of the page. So when you have a problem that you'd like to solve, or a challenge that you'd like to find resolution for, or even when you're just plain old feeling stuck, anger is one place to look. And another place to look would be your values. Where have you been sacrificing your own integrity? And what can you do immediately, right now, today, to get realigned with your own integrity? When you don't know where to begin, stop trying to solve the problem and start getting your integrity back in. I can't emphasize this enough. Look for places where your integrity is out, even in the smallest ways, where you've been involved in something you haven't wanted to be involved in. Look for ways that you can increase your integrity, because when people are angry with themselves, well, this is often what's happened. All right, so we have this basic concept of the ego self versus the soul self. And we have this concept that when we're feeling stuck, it's never the situation, but it's our energy that's become stuck over there on the left side of the page. And we have this concept that we know that it's through positive energies on the right side of the page that we connect not only with our higher self, with our soul self, but this also gives us better access to positive outcomes when we're over there on the right side of the page. And now I'd like to go one layer deeper. When we go through a spiritual injury or some kind of trauma, our timeline gets messed up and we blur the lines between past and present, sometimes because we're just so triggered. We may also have a corruption of our moral compass where we don't know which way is up or down, or even what's right or wrong sometimes. And most of all, with spiritual injury, we sometimes lose our identity. We don't know who we are now. And so our emotions are all over the place and it's all mixed up. So I'd like to add a third stick figure that goes right in between what we've already drawn. So Our ego way over there on the left and our soul self way over there on the right. And then right there in the middle, well, let's label this little guy our current ego because we change over time, right? Our situations from the past, they change and we may experience some personal or spiritual growth as we go along. So our ego way over there on the left would now become our past ego. And that was the one that was traumatized. And our current ego is the one that we live with right now at the present moment. Make sense? All right, so look at a situation that you're going through right now, a problem that you'd like to solve, or you might also look at something you've been through in the past that was life changing, one of those defining moments. Maybe it was a divorce, or you lost a business, or maybe it was way back in childhood. Maybe it just happened last year, but something that was life changing, something that was a defining moment. And for this example, I'm going to use Alice, someone who was in one of my workshops recently. And yes, I have changed her name to protect the innocent. But Alice went through a bad divorce when our economy changed back in 2008 and 2009. And she ultimately lost her marriage and she also lost her home. And because of the economy back then, she also lost her business. So I asked her about her past ego, those emotions that she was feeling back there in 2008. And here's what she wrote down. Frustration, that was her strongest emotion. Anger, confusion, grief, judgment, loss, and she was feeling lost. And so here we are, so many years later, 10, 11, 12 years later, however long it's been, and she's in a new relationship and has a new business. But in the meantime, she's lost her entire retirement portfolio, all of her savings, as a result of what happened years ago. And so she's in a new struggle now. So I asked her about her current ego and the negative emotions she's feeling right now in present time. And here's what she wrote down. She's feeling defeated, burned out, overwhelmed. That's her strongest emotion right now. She's feeling spent and untethered from her higher self, untethered from her own inner guidance. And she said to me, I just can't go back to that pain. I just want to feel normal again. So why do we have these two stick figures here? Well, remember how I said that sometimes we change over time? Our situations change. Maybe we've experienced some personal or spiritual growth. Life changes us over time. And sometimes we don't change all that much in a 10-year period, sorry to say. So my point is, if you want to change the course of your journey, if you want to connect with your higher self, with your soul self, if you want to bond with that creative vibrational being that can create positive life experiences going forward that you'd like to experience, all that happens over there on the right side of the page. This is your hidden power on the right side of the page. And this is where the highest responsibility is, because remember, it would be irresponsible to allow your past ego or even your current ego or anyone else's ego to stretch or pull you into negative energies. It's through these positive energies on the right side of the page that we can affect transformation. Remember, our choice of frequency can change the course of our journey. Our choice of frequency, negative or positive, can change the course of our journey. Our soul self, our higher self, doesn't want all the chitter chatter of negative thoughts. It wants only one thing, a more positive frequency, because that's where alchemy happens. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this training so far on how to dissolve the obstacles in your path by using your hidden power to transform challenges into blessings. It's all about directing positive energies toward the best possible outcomes and not allowing negative thoughts about the situation to block those outcomes. This is the magic of alchemy. Now, remember back at the beginning, I promised to give you a couple of things. One is an awesome survival guide, and you can find that at my website at ramychaussee.com/alchemy. ramychaussee.com/alchemy. And I've got to tell you, this is just one of my favorite things that I've ever created. It's a full color, just really neat little guide. And if you like what you learned so far today, you'll love what you find inside this survival guide. It has some inspirational stories in it, like Michelle, who was tangled up in a mess of a partnership and how she managed to get out of it and restore her integrity. We talked about that a little earlier today. And there's also a story in here about Peter and how he lost his income and the super valuable outcome that happened when he made a simple shift in his perspective. So you can find that at ramychaussee.com/alchemy. Then I have one more thing for you, and that's this little handout that people just beg for in my workshops. And you can find this at ramychaussee.com/finding your soul self. ramychaussee.com/finding your soul self. And if you look a little closer, looky there, you'll see this is a fancy version of the stick figures that we looked at earlier. But it also has a lot of great added information like those 1, 2, 3. Those are the 1, 2, 3 steps of how to go from challenge into resolution. It also has a lot of great added information like how life begins right there on the right side of the page. I just love that. It's a handout that so many people just beg me for. ramychaussee.com/finding your soul self. And so that's it for today. Remember, all that's required from you when you're looking to solve a problem is a simple shift in frequency, because your choice of frequency changes the course of your journey and opens up to possibilities that maybe you've never even imagined. Well, I hope this helps you as you're using the powers of alchemy to transform challenges and obstacles into positive new successes. Be sure to be watching your inbox for an upcoming announcement about a brand new workshop. It's a short online course to help you overcome any obstacle, find the keys to success, and believe in yourself again, all by harnessing the magic of alchemy. So be watching your inbox. Thank you for joining me today, and feel free to share this video with anyone you know who's feeling stuck. Feel free to share this video with anyone you know who's feeling stuck. Thank you. Bye.